In this video, I will explain a type of logical fallacy called the genetic fallacy. I'll begin with some general examples, explain why it is a mistake, and use some examples of people making this mistake. Hopefully, by the end of the video, you will be able to spot and deal with this fallacy. The genetic fallacy has nothing to do with genes or biology, but the name is not important. Understanding what it means is important. The genetic fallacy occurs when you assert the truth value of a claim based on its source. So you hear a claim, identify the source, a source which has some positive or negative attribute, and use this to form a conclusion about the claim. Some general examples are, he said this, so it must be false. She said that, so it must be true. My personal experience said X, so it must be true. Her personal experience said Y, so it must be false. This celebrity endorses it, so it must work. These kinds of arguments are fallacious because the source of the claim is irrelevant when considering the truth value of the claim. The truth value of the claim is determined not by the source, but by the evidence supporting it. It is tempting to use our prejudices of the source to conclude that the claim is true or false. After all, such biases exist because they are correct frequently enough for this kind of shortcut to work, and human brains will tend to take the shortcut if it exists. But taking such shortcuts stops us from thinking about the actual claim. Let's look at some examples. Archimedes famously came up with the principle of buoyancy while having a bath. As the idea came to him, he shouted, "Eureka!" jumped out of the bath and ran naked through the streets. Or so the story goes. You may think that this is the behavior of a madman, or that scientific discoveries do not take place in the bathtub, or that a man who runs naked through the streets cannot contribute anything useful to society. These may be true or false, and you can certainly debate them, but regardless, it tells us nothing about the principle of buoyancy. It is wrong to deny the principle of buoyancy simply because of the way Archimedes came up with it. Buoyancy exists regardless of who discovered it or how they discovered it. The final example concerns the story of the boy who cried wolf, which I'm assuming you are familiar with. In the story, the final time he cried wolf was the only time that a wolf had actually come. On the previous occasions, the villagers came to help, but on the final occasion, the villagers thought the boy was probably lying, so didn't come to help and paid the price. In effect, the villagers had evaluated the boy's testimony and concluded that he was lying. But there is a difference between testimony and argument. It is a mistake to conflate the two. The argument here is that wolves are dangerous and pose a threat to the village. Now, the boy may lie or tell the truth, but either way, the argument is still valid. The wolf will still be a danger to the village. It is a mistake to think that this danger does not exist because the boy might be lying. When you see this kind of argument, consider the following. Separate the source from the argument. Evaluate each one on its own. Ultimately, you need to balance the risk. The two risks here are believing a false argument and wasting time investigating an argument that in the end only confirms your existing biases. Well, that concludes the video. Hopefully now you are better placed to spot and deal with this fallacy. And if not, well, this video is one of many on this channel. As you know, everything on this channel is worth watching, including this video. So hit the like button and subscribe to the channel.